Hi, my name is Benton Calder. I'm sitting here at Metabridge 2015 in beautiful Kelowna, British Columbia, and I'm sitting down with Sean, the product manager at Dropbox. Sean, how you doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah?
Just finished the first batch of pitches. It was riveting. Excited to see what's next.
So tell us what you're doing here at Metabridge.
I mean, there's a bunch of different things that attracted me to Metabridge. This is my second year here. First year, I really didn't know what to expect. I knew Kelowna, Canadian, so you know the Okanagan, but really didn't know what tech in Kelowna would be like, and was absolutely blown away with the companies that I saw. I met a lot of really great people, companies that were interesting from a Dropbox perspective, and then a just Canadian pride perspective. And so this year, it's how do I get more of that? How do I kind of double down my involvement?
Yeah, right on. So you're a judge right now for the speed round of pitches.
Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah?
Yep.
What are you finding most interesting so far?
So one of the problems that you kind of see maybe a few years ago with Canadian companies, there's a lot of people who sort of aren't looking beyond the borders, and it doesn't feel like the problem anymore. Like every pitch was we're already expanded internationally, or we're raising money, or we're going to use this money if we win to expand into the US, expand international. And that's great. I love that Canadian companies are starting to think, beyond our borders.
Right on. So some of the companies that have already pitched, we won't tell them what you say, but what are your initial thoughts of them?
There's a lot of really interesting markets that are not sort of, your traditional technology, social ones. Like it's a farming market. There's people in healthcare, which are great. A lot of traction as well. Like it's not just, hey, we built this, we're in the market. We're already talking about monthly revenue, and here are the brands that are using us. I mean, like, that sort of adoption is the stuff that makes pitching to investors easy and pitching to us on the panel, really exciting.
Mm-hmm. What type of companies or what type of industries are you attracted to as an investor or just as a person in general?
I tend to like businesses. I like companies that will eventually make money. I mean, if I'm going to be investing either my own money or Metabridge's, it's going to be towards somebody who's like solving a big enough problem people are willing to pay for. So but beyond that, I mean, I love talking about the companies that are doing interesting stuff in farming, and social media is interesting as well. So it's kind of all over the map from there.
Right on. So switching to you more personally, what led you to Dropbox? Because that's a really well-known company, especially for younger people like Paul and myself. What led you to start working with them?
It's kind of a long path. I grew up in Saskatoon. I went to school in Ontario. And my first couple of years, the reason I went down to San Francisco in the first place was Google. And so I was there for a while, and kind of like the folks here today, I got itchy. I wanted to see what the rest of the world was like, and so started a company. And that eventually that company was acquired by Dropbox. So I've been there for about 3 years now through a lot of our really intense growth period, and it's been awesome.
Yeah. So what company was it called that got acquired?
A company called Tap Engage. We were an ad tech company, so totally unrelated to what Dropbox actually does.
Okay. What was it like starting a company for the first time?
You get so much advice, especially down in San Francisco. You have this network of people who are doing the exact same thing. They are either have done it before or they're in it with you at the same time. And so you can kind of swap stories, and everybody will give you advice of do this, don't do that. It's going to be a roller coaster, and you can hear that, but until you actually experience it and internalize it, it's still a shock to the system. I mean, the perfect example is everybody says starting a company is a roller coaster. And I'm like, yeah, great. Okay. Everybody has, good weeks and bad weeks. But I distinctly remember moments where it was like, by the hour on a specific day, you'd be top of the world. Yeah, we've got this figured out. Or, oh no, we're so screwed. It was just so dynamic.
Yeah. So did you have other co-founders that you could kind of lean on during this time, or was it just yourself?
I had a co-founder. He was also a friend that I knew from Google that I convinced to kind of go through the adventure with me. I would not have been able to do it without Matt. Really somebody you could lean on.
Yeah. So what was it like having a co-founder? Did you guys share it kind of 50-50, or was it more of one person or the other?
There's different approaches. Like, frankly, we didn't really know what we were doing the first time. We just sort of said, hey, you want to start a company? Like, literally over a burrito one night. That was the decision. And we kind of got lucky. Like, Matt and I were friends, but we hadn't really worked together. And now going back and talking with, prospective entrepreneurs, hey, give this some thought. This is going to be a relationship that's ultimately going to grow to define the company. And, if you're doing it right, this company is going to be 5, 10, 25, 100-year company. You want that relationship to be something that's concrete that you can sort of build on. And we had to kind of figure that out over time. So the division of labor, or just, the kind of relationship things of how you argue about something and disagree, but then come to a resolution without feeling grudges or hating each other. That's really, really important.
Right. So what would you give to a young entrepreneur? What kind of advice would you give them, other than it's going to be a roller coaster kind of advice?
It is going to be a roller coaster. Give a lot of thought to who you're founding the company with, and I love the analogy of marriage with founders. I think that's the right thing. So the extending that analogy maybe to extreme lengths is like date first. Like actually, if you're going to start a company, do it with somebody that you've actually tried to build something with, whether it's like a side project on the weekend or, like a little company that isn't doing anything. Like make sure that you can actually work together before you really put a lot of stakes into it. And I guess like the other thing is, build something that you love. You're going to be at this for a long time. You shouldn't be, trying to build something for a year and look for an exit strategy. You're going to be at it for a very long period of time. Build something that you're okay getting up in every day and you're excited about going into the office to work on.
Mm-hmm. So what's your background mainly? Like, what's your kind of tool that you brought to the table?
My formal background is computer science, so being able to write code is pretty important. I'm certainly not the killer engineer, but I can get by at early stages. The other thing that's really important that an event like Metabridge is awesome for is just being able to have conversations and go in and talk to people about, hey, what are your problems? Like maybe I can build something that's going to work for you, or you sit with customers and actually see how they're using your product. Like, you can't spend all day in front of a monitor when you're building a tech company. You really, especially as founders, need to be out there constantly. And so, I don't know, you had to build it up over a long time. I was, the awkward kid growing up in high school, but you have to start flexing that muscle eventually.
Yeah. Well, you've come into your own, certainly.
Oh,
so.
That's very kind of you to say.
Thank you so much for sitting down with us. And Steve, great to meet you. Thanks very much.
Absolutely.